Hello everybody. In this video we're going to learn how to set up an energy bar outlet. We're also going to learn about the configuration settings inside of the outlet and what they do. Let's get started. The first thing you want to do is head over to your menu item here for the outputs. And inside the outputs you're going to see your energy bar in here in an order that you should be able to tell. I have an energy bar here as device 512 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This is one of my energy bars. And then I have another device here for 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That's the second energy bar that I have. The labels on the energy bar here on the left are just labels. You can change these to whatever you like. So when we come back over to the dashboard, I would go ahead and pull those out of our lockbox bin and then close out the tiles bin once you're complete. And once you have your energy bars out here, we can go ahead and get started with the programming. And we're going to start with outlet number 1 here at the top. The first thing at the very top is you'll see the device number. Right now we're working with energy bar on address number 3, and this is also outlet number 1 on that energy bar. And so you'll get something like this, 3.1 as your device label. This is something you can't control. It's actually unclickable, but it is great for reference if you need to figure out what outlet you're working on. The name. This you can change to whatever you like. This is actually what's going to appear on the outside of Apex Fusion. All the labels here, so you can feel free to change this to whatever you need. Next we have the icons. And the icons are interesting because what they'll do is they will add a icon to your Aqua controller display based off of whether your outlet is on or off. Small pictures just like this that'll appear on your Apex display screen. They do animate when your outlets are on or off. Based on what you would like to choose here as an icon will depend on what appears on the display screen. It's all your choice. And coming back over to the bottom of that, we have the control type. This is the control type with various modes that you can choose from. We have modes for light, pumps, heaters, chillers, pH controls, ORP controls, and feeder. Each control type has its own set of rules and settings here, so depending on what you choose is what will appear. The log feature here is something that will display the time and date of when this outlet has turned on or turned off. You can feel free by doing so by clicking the log to enable this item and checking that information over on your log outputs, which will be displayed over here. Now that that's complete, let's go ahead and go through each control type and learn what each one does. The first one on here is advanced. So in the advanced mode, what you'll see is the programming version of what you would have seen out on the outside. So everything in here might have switches and labels. If you switch to advanced, you're going to see that information displayed in programming language. Next, we have the light option here. The light option is going to give you a fallback mode here, and the fallback mode is what this outlet will do when your energy bar is blinking orange or has lost communication from your system in the event of a power outage or anything like that. It's going to come with an on time here that you can go ahead and set yourself, and an off time that you can also set for yourself. You want to stick to 24-hour periods, so go ahead and use 24-hour clock to designate the window of time when something should be on and off. Next we have the shutdown probe, and what the shutdown probe will do is monitor your tank's temperature. If it gets too hot, it will turn off the lights to help cool down the water. Usually gives it about 30 minutes or so. You can adjust this, and you can set the shutdown value here on this box. Next, we also have the pump option here, and what the pump option will do for you, have a similar fallback mode here for on and off. the initial off time here, and then there's initial on time and also initial off time. These three options here work together in order to give you an oscillating pump. In the example that's already on the screen here for 5 minutes in each category, what's going to happen is the pump will be off for 5 minutes and then turn on for 5 minutes and then stay off for another 5 minutes and then just loops right back around and turns off for another 5 minutes and then stays on again. So realistically what this means is that the pump is going to be off for 10 minutes because there's 5 minutes in each off time. If you wish to keep your pumps on all the time and you do not want them to turn off, just go ahead and zero out the off time. That way your pump will stay on indefinitely. Next at the bottom, this comes with a feed timer mode. Feed timer will turn off the outlet if someone were to select cycle A or B, C, or D, it's your choice. And the feed timer delay is going to be a delay on top of that feed timer whenever you press it. Next, let's go ahead and go to the next option here, and then the next option is going to be for a heater. And the heater option here comes with a fallback mode. It also comes with a probe name. So the probe name, you want to make sure that you identify the probe that you want this outlet to monitor. And right now I only have one temp probe on my system, but for those of you who have multiple, you will see multiple temp probes here available for you to choose to tell this outlet which one to monitor. The heater option also comes with on temperature and off temperature. What this will do is monitor this probe that you've selected and turn on at this temperature and turn off at this temperature. Feel free to adjust this as you need. Let's go over to the chiller control type. And the chiller control type is very similar to the heater control type. And they both have the fallback modes in them. They also have the probe selection. You can also turn on the outlet based off of different temperature readings or ranges. By the default, the on temperature is at 79 degrees when the water is getting pretty warm, and to keep it off and turn it off once it hits 78 degrees. The pH control type is similar to the other two, except that it's going to be monitoring pH. It comes with a fallback mode. It also is going to give you an option to choose the pH that you wish to monitor. My system happens to have two pH options because I have two pH ports on my system, so it would be my choice. Now, once I choose the probe name I want this outlet to monitor, I can set the high value and the low value for the pH that I wish to keep, and I can tell it when to turn on based off of either the high number or the low number. The next control type here is going to be the ORP control, and the ORP control is very similar to the other modes that we've been looking at, the pH mode and the heater mode and the chiller mode, but this will also measure the ORP. Last here is the feeder mode. Let's go ahead and click on that, and on the feeder mode you're going to get a first feeding time. This will be the initial first feeding of your automatic feeding system. It'll turn on at this time. You also have an option here for repeat intervals. If you do wish to have this repeat again in the same day, go ahead and give the repeat interval a time to repeat. By default, it's set to 1 hour. The drum rotations during the feeding is your choice. By default, there's one. Feedings per day is your choice. By default, there is one. This feedings per day must be at 2 if you intend on using this repeat interval. So in this case that I have 2 feedings per day, that second feed, the first feeding is going to happen at 1500 hours. That second feeding is going to happen 60 minutes later. At the very bottom we have the feed timer. This feature here will allow you to start your feeder on demand if you need it. Once you've selected the control type that you need for this outlet, go ahead and set them to how you need them. And once you're complete, go to the top right, click on the orange cloud button to update your Apex controller. And what this will do is send that information over to your energy bar for that outlet. Head back to the dashboard, and we'll see the name change that I have given it, which is the outlet test. Now that we've went ahead and set up the energy bar outlet number 1, feel free to continue on to the rest of your outlets by selecting the control types that you will need for each one and setting their configurations accordingly. If you need any help, feel free to visit us at www.neptunesystems.com. Also visit our help page at neptunesystems/get started. Thanks for watching.